Good evening, Chicago. Greatest city in America. Well, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast that cuts through all the spin. We're talking about Pivot with Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway. Now, these two break down the biggest stories and aren't afraid to call anyone out. Pivot is honest, informative, never boring. And that's why it's so smart that Kara and Scott have come to Chicago, because this is a city that's always been about innovation, hard work, and telling it like it is. So no better place to be in the country than here in Chicago tonight. So please join me in welcoming Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway.
Washington was a little louder, so let's try that again. No. Oh, boo, Washington. Oh, what do you think? I'm Trump at a football game? Cut it out.
Support for the show comes from Odoo. Running a business is hard enough, and you don't need to make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you find yourself drowning in software and processes instead of focusing on what matters, growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. It's the only business software you'll ever need. Odoo is an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything. That means CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload, no more juggling logins, just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part is that Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you're just starting out or you're already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process. It's time to put the clutter aside and focus on what really matters, running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Support for this show comes from Upwork. So you started a business, but you didn't expect to become the head of everything. Now you're doing marketing, customer service, and IT with no support staff. At some point, doing it all becomes the reason nothing gets done. Stop doing everything. Instead of spending weeks sorting through random resumes, Upwork Business Plus sends a curated shortlist of expert talent to your inbox in hours. These are trusted, top-rated freelancers vetted for skills and reliability. And with Upwork Business Plus, you can get instant access to the top 1% of talent on Upwork in marketing, design, AI, and more, all ready to jump in and take work off your plate. Upwork Business Plus can take the hassle out of hiring and the pressure off your team. That way you can stop doing everything and instead focus on scaling while the pros at Upwork can handle the rest. Right now, when you spend $1,000 on Upwork Business Plus, you get $500 in credit. Go to upwork.com/save now and claim the offer before December 31st, 2025. Again, that's upwork.com/SAVE. Scale smarter with top talent and $500 in credit. Terms and conditions apply. Hi, everyone. Live from the Chicago Theater, this is Pivot from New York Magazine and the Vox Media Podcast Network. I'm Kara Swisher.
And I'm Scott Galloway.
And before we start, I want to send, as I said, a big thank you to our sponsors, Odoo and Upwork. And please give a huge round of applause to tonight's special guest, Governor JB Pritzker. I think you're popular. I'm not hearing booing. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I'll ask you at the end about Epstein. So apparently there was some news today. Any quick thoughts, actually?
There's nothing quick about it except Trump, Epstein. I think we know what happened there.
Okay. It's really interesting, just as they got back, and they did seat the representative, which pushed it over the edge, and actually others did join in. We'll talk about it more, but I want to actually talk about Chicago and about the controversial immigration operations that have taken place in the city after nearly 60 days. Agreed. Border Patrol official Gregory Bovino, who's trying, he's trying to get cast as the guy that got his face melted in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He's too short for that.
Many of his agents are reportedly planning to leave as early as this week with the Trump administration's downshift. Operation Midway Blitz. I don't know where they come up with these names. Some reports indicate that federal agents could return fourfold in the spring. I guess they can't take the weather because they're wimps, like you guys can.
Because they're snowflakes.
Exactly. So how do you continue to navigate the push and pull on this strange federal immigration enforcement?
Well, let me start by saying, and I really am not pandering to this audience, it's the people of Chicago that have truly reacted to them and protected our neighbors and our friends. People have come out. The number of whistles that have been purchased all across and that people are using when they see unmarked vehicles and guys wearing masks. People are coming out of their homes. People who've never protested before, people who've never been engaged before. They're outraged, and they're coming out to warn their neighbors and their friends, ICE is here, be careful, protect yourself, know what your rights are. And the people of Chicago have just done a terrific job. For 2 months now, they've been under siege by Customs and Border Patrol, by ICE, by Gregory Bovino. And this city really stepped up, activated, peacefully protested, and has pushed back. I'm really proud of everyone.
So how do you deal with this, working presumably with the mayor, but they don't call you, right? You don't know a lot.
They don't communicate at all. It's the first time that I think in my lifetime that the federal government isn't talking to the state government about operations that it wants to do in our state. And it's very frustrating. So we read things in the news that come from, they've got this lying spokesperson at the Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, who literally, everything that comes out of her mouth is false. And that's how the news gets the information. And then we've got to figure out what's true, not true in reality, and then tell the news and, of course, react to it. So it's very challenging. But I will say that we've seen a lot of really terrible things on the ground. I think everybody here probably has witnessed something. We've asked people, and they've reacted to it, to pull out their phones, their iPhones, their Android phones, and video everything you see. And you know what that's led to? Federal cases that we have won. Thank you.
So presumably you're not in touch with Kristi Noem, correct?
Yeah, Kristi doesn't call me. I don't know why.
Now how does it usually work? Some people are asking some of those sort of pandering officials want them to come in. Why do you think they targeted you? You're running because you might be running for president. What do you think is the...
I don't think they targeted me. Donald Trump has had a problem with Chicago for as long as anyone's heard anything out of his mouth, really. He attacked Chicago. He did back in 2016. He does all the time. He has this idea in his head that everything's on fire here. He said the same about Portland, I might add. I'm not sure why, and guess what? Those are the first two cities, well, beyond L.A. anyway, that they sent ICE and CBP into. But all I can say is that, they thought they were going to be successful here. They have not been successful, again, thanks to the people of Chicago. And they're not just in Chicago. I want to just give a shout out. ICE and CBP really have been all over the state, in the suburbs as well as downstate. And there's a little town, I'll just tell you a quick story, a little town called Staunton, Illinois, in central Illinois, where there's an undocumented man who's raised his family there. He's got a wife and kids. They go to school there. He owns a restaurant there. He's been in this country for 20 plus years. And they arrived in Staunton, Illinois, in central Illinois, and they grabbed this guy and disappeared him for a whole day. His family didn't know where he went to. And the town of Staunton, 4,000 people live in this town. 500 people showed up to protest.
So if they come back in the spring, what is your move if they come back with 4 times the force?
The unfortunate thing is that because of the supremacy clause in the Constitution, federal law enforcement has the ability to, as long as they're following federal law, and you ought to take note, they're not following federal law, but there's no one that's holding them accountable at the federal level. But they are allowed, they have limited immunity as officers of the law, even if they aren't following the law. And so it is very hard to push back on them. So the way that we've done it here is, number one, we've made sure everybody knows what their rights are. And I'm talking about undocumented people. And I bet we all know somebody, they overstayed their visa, something. They're here in this state for one reason or another, but have been here for a long time, paying their taxes, following the law, raising their families. They're good neighbors and friends. They're workers, and they've been here quite a long time. And they're coming for those are the people supposedly they're coming for,
rather than criminals,
rather than the worst of the worst, which is what Donald Trump said that he was going after. Instead, they're stopping people who have brown skin or black skin, and just asking them for their United States citizenship papers. I don't know about any of you, but I don't carry citizenship papers, and we shouldn't have to in this country.
So, Scott?
So I voiced this to the governor when he was on the podcast. Every year I do a bucket list with my sons. I say, it's our weekend. We can do whatever you want. My oldest wanted to go to a PSG game in Paris, and my youngest, we live in London, said, I really want to go to Chicago. So we came here, steakhouse, batting cage, went to the tallest building in Chicago, which every kid has to do. By the way, just had a fantastic weekend. If you think of cities and states as a product, right? You're a relatively high tax state, not the highest. You offer services, economic opportunity, but pitch the product that is Illinois and Chicago. Like, why? Imagine you're a recent college grad with just a ton of options, or an immigrant that has incredible human capital and could go anywhere. What's the pitch? Sell me on Illinois as a place to choose to spend my formative or young adult years.
I might add that I'll make the pitch, but I will tell you that this is the destination for most kids at universities in the Midwest. We have an enormous influx of people here from Michigan, from Indiana, from Missouri, and so on. People want to come to the city of Chicago, the young people coming here. I mean, it's an exciting, vibrant city. I would say there are several things. I mean, first, if you're a young person, we've got, great jobs at tech companies. We are growing. Interesting fact I heard from Google, which is within Google, maybe somebody hears from Google, but there you go. I heard that within Google, if you want to transfer around to one of the other offices, either because your spouse is moving or whatever, the most requested place to move to in the United States is Chicago. And they just are, I don't know if any of you have seen, but they just Google it, are moving to the center of the city of Chicago. They actually bought the building from us, from the state of Illinois, and they're redoing it, and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So it's a great, vibrant city where there are a lot of really good jobs, whether it's the tech businesses or I'll just add, it's a great sports town.
Heard.
And importantly, a great place to raise your family. And last thing is, I've lived in lots of different places when I was younger. I went to school in North Carolina, lived in California, lived in Washington, D.C., lived in just outside of Boston. So a lot of different places. And I can say this, no more decent people in a big city than in the city of Chicago.
Okay. I think Scott was looking for what's your favorite bar tip, but that's okay. One issue about just this week, President Trump said the Miracle Mile Shopping Center, which in Chicago, I covered retail here, by the way, once considered our nation's best, now more than 28% vacancy factor, and is ready to call it quits unless something is done about murder and crime, which is prevalent throughout the city. Call in the troops. This is in all caps. Call in the troops fast before it is too late. So first of all, it's the Magnificent Mile. It's not.
Thank you.
It's not a shopping center. And you said in response, and this was interesting, the man is demented. He really has no idea what he's doing. That's an interesting choice of words. But I would assume the city's capable of handling real estate vacancies without federal intervention.
Yeah, like I said, he loves to dump on the city of Chicago. The reality is that honestly, this state is on the rise. This city is on the rise. We have a lot of really great things going for us, and it doesn't help when you have the president of the United States with some crazy notion of what the city is. He doesn't come here. I think if he's got such a bad rep with everybody in Chicago that if you ask most people, they'd like to tear the name Trump off that building of his.
You know what's wrong with it? The font is wrong. It's badly sized font. It really is. It's offensive.
Yeah. There's other things that are wrong with Trump, but I will say this: that he's, he likes to dump on us, but he doesn't read. Apparently, he doesn't spend any time. Yeah, trying to understand anything at all. And if he did, because he also put a tweet out or whatever his, I don't know,
truth,
false, whatever it is, social. But he put something out, where he claimed credit for the last 4 years of crime coming down precipitously in the city of Chicago. And I mean, our homicide rate has been cut in half, and they've been here for 2 months. Not getting the worst of the worst off the streets. And he put out something today or yesterday claiming that any success we've had has been because of him. And again, all I can say is he should, I don't really wish he would spend more time here. But I mean, if he understood this city, like most people who come here and spend any time here, it's a great city, and he should know it. But anyway, I'm frustrated by everything.
You stick with Demented. You stick with Demented.
I got to stick with Demented. I mean, otherwise, like almost everything that comes out of his mouth is false. So I'm frustrated because he's got the biggest bully pulpit in the world, and he's, talking crap about the city of Chicago. And all I can say is, I mean, all the people, I bet a lot of people that are in the audience moved to the city of Chicago and will vouch for the city with everyone you know.
Support for the show comes from Odoo. Running a business is hard enough, and you don't need to make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you find yourself drowning in software and processes instead of focusing on what matters, growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. It's the only business software you'll ever need. Odoo is an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything. That means CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload, no more juggling logins, just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part is that Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you're just starting out or you're already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process. It's time to put the clutter aside and focus on what really matters, running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This country's in the middle of a massive redistricting war to term control of Congress. Apparently, the Republicans might actually lose seats now through their redistricting because they're turning pink or purple, especially in Texas. But they're only up a half a seat right now and possibly down 4 through their efforts. But Illinois, what is going to happen here?
Well, I've been we're going to take a poll tonight. they're going state by state, right? Republicans are, and trying to get, Donald Trump is trying to get the governors and the Republican legislatures to redistrict. And Indiana, right next door to us, has been on again, off again, on again. They're trying to do it. And what I've said is that, and there's been a pairing of states, by the way. Missouri is trying to do it, and therefore Maryland might do it in order to cancel out Missouri. California did it to cancel out Texas. If Indiana does it, and they're going to meet in December to decide, I think that would push Illinois toward redistricting.
So,
but I will add, we have 14 Democrats out of 17 seats, so we're doing okay. Democrats are doing okay in this state.
So, two questions. First is, do you think the 7 Democratic senators should have voted to end the shutdown?
There were 8, by the way. 8.
Excuse me.
And I know every single one of those people. And I can tell you that, that's probably the biggest mistake I've seen maybe in my political career. It was the wrong thing to do. Democrats won 8 days ago everywhere in the country that there was an election.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that would stiffen their spines in the United States Senate, not loosen them. And unfortunately, we saw people who are retiring. It makes no sense to me. People that are retiring who have really nothing politically to lose. And should
it's
have
part of a scheme, presumably, right?
It's a scheme, exactly.
Right.
But I'm frustrated, and one of them was our senior senator here. I was very disappointed. He's really done a lot of good things for the state and a lot of good things for the country. I was disappointed in his decision to do that. Our other senator, who I think extraordinarily highly of, also criticized the senior senator. Her name is Tammy Duckworth. She did a great job and voted against it.
So why do you think they did it? What was your theory? I mean, there was all these theories of game theory. I understand, but there's also these game theory things that's out there.
I think many of them had come, and you heard some of them at press conferences yesterday. I think they came to the conclusion that this has gone on for so long that it's hurting people, and that they could rescue the country from this situation. But the reality is, the guy who created this problem is Donald Trump. And he's the guy who refused to sit down with Democrats. By the way, what was he doing? Why did he hold out and not sit down with Democrats and go along with, he wanted to shut the government down? Why? And the reason, this is the crazy thing. He wants to deny people food in order to force the country to accept less health care. What is the logic? Your job as president of the United States is to make people's lives better. Democrats just wanted health care, a restoration of affordable health care. That's all Democrats wanted. And Donald Trump was willing to starve people in order to hold to his position. It's arguably one of the best campaign slogans of the 21st century, is that that Democrats are the ones who are fighting for people to get fed and get health care, and that it's the Republicans and Donald Trump who are willing to stand against it. And so I don't get it.
Why did
the
senators do it, though? Why did the Democrats?
I think that they felt like we're running up against Thanksgiving, that people aren't going to be able to get their flights to wherever it is that they want to go, that the public will hold both parties, and maybe Democrats more so for some reason, responsible. But the reality is that that's not what was happening, right? Republicans, rightly so, they're in control. They've literally got every branch of government in their hands, and they are the ones responsible for this. And yet these 8 decided to give in. It is too bad. The Democrats, people rely upon Democrats to do the responsible thing all the time. Guess what? Who's doing that? The Republicans in Congress and Donald Trump are the ones who are, we've got to go do the right thing so that they can get away with murder.
So 2 more quick questions. One, we talked to Governor Healy in Boston about their efforts to make Massachusetts an AI hub. You're leaning into quantum computing. Talk really briefly about the strategy here.
So yeah, we've got first of all, we've got some of the best institutions in the entire country for building quantum and AI. We've got Argonne National Laboratory, Fermilab, University of Chicago, University of Illinois, Northwestern. Not to mention, as I mentioned, those Midwest institutions, Purdue, University of Wisconsin, Madison, et cetera, all great places, right? And people come here to Chicago. They want to come here. So we have all the makings of it to begin with. Second, University of Chicago came to me in 2019 wanting to build out what's called the Chicago Quantum Exchange. And I had just passed or was about to pass a major infrastructure bill for the state, one that hadn't been passed. I mean, we hadn't had anything like that really ever in our history, and asked if we would invest in making Illinois and the Chicago Quantum Exchange the hub of quantum for the country. And I insisted that the University of Illinois be the partner in that endeavor, and putting that together. And then we're now building a quantum campus. That has really put us on the map. That there are 3 states that are going after being the quantum hub of the country: Colorado, Maryland, and Illinois, and we are in the lead.
Okay.
Hey, Tara, can I do a quick? So I want you to imagine that you're a popular governor and you decide to run for president.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask. Go for it.
What am I imagining? What was that?
Running for president.
Oh.
I just want to do a lightning round, quick responses, gut response on some policy ideas. Mandatory national service.
We've got to train people for the jobs of the future. I believe that doing some kind of service, allowing people to go to trade school potentially in that service, right? Whether it's, so we're not talking necessarily about military service, but just serving the country. We've got a whole lot of infrastructure that needs to get built. I think that would be a great way for people to operate.
Lower eligibility for Medicare by 3 years every year in office, such that it's 41 by the time you leave. Basically a move towards nationalized or socialized medicine.
Lowering it every couple of years.
Socialized medicine.
Socialized medicine. Lowering Medicare.
Oh, I'm for universal health care. I believe everybody deserves to have a doctor and have
Fair enough. Universal child care.
Are you kidding me? I came into office with 25 years of child care and
raise
early
federal
childhood
minimum wage from $7.25 to say $20 or $25 an hour.
What was
raise the minimum wage.
Oh, are you kidding? This is my topic. $14,000 a year, no one can live on anymore. That's $7.25. That is the national minimum wage. So if you don't live in a state like Illinois, where I helped to raise it to $15 an hour, you are living in poverty and holding down a full-time, probably 2 full-time jobs, making $28,000 a year if you work 2 full-time jobs, unable to really raise your family while you're doing it if you're working 2 jobs. And so, I'm a big believer that we've got to raise the national minimum wage, $7.25. By the way, greatest political issue ever.
What? Minimum wage?
Well, at least $15. That's what we've done here in the state of Illinois. By the way, hundreds of thousands of people no longer live in poverty in the state of Illinois because we raised the minimum wage.
Last question. A massive increase in support, armaments, long-range missiles, and potentially boots on the ground to Ukraine.
Well, I don't want to send boots on the ground. I think that we had an opportunity with Joe Biden in office. He was doing the right thing. Look, they should fight their own war, but we should support them because, Russia is not our friend. And Russia wants a piece of the rest of Europe, and it is Ukraine that stands in the way. And so we ought to be supporting the nation of Ukraine. Donald Trump walked away and has let Vladimir Putin essentially kill hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine. And now, and he says, oh, he's such a great peacemaker. He hasn't made peace anywhere. He's basically just sided with one side, let them blow over their competition, their enemy, and then that's right. The way
I lied. Last
peace.
one: removal of Section 230 protection for algorithmically elevated content.
Social media. I mean, this is probably the biggest danger to young people in this country. That we have got to put some limits. I tried to pass a law last spring. We're going to try again this year that would ban cell phones in classrooms across the state.
That's an easy one.
And that's the way we can do it in the state of Illinois, but there's a whole lot the federal government ought to be doing.
All right. So how close are you to a presidential run? And tell me a number. Like 3 months, 6 months?
I love being governor of Illinois. I'm running for re-election, by the way.
Blibbity, blah, blah.
Well, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
Give
me a number. You're
we've
running
got a
for
great
president.
bench. What else do you want me to tell you? We've got a great Democrats have probably the greatest bench that we've had for quite some time for 2028.
I don't know. I think you're running for president, so you can go now. No. Looking good. I'm just saying. You're slimming down. You're looking good. Anyway, thank you, Governor Pritzker. We'll let you get back to work. Let's have a round of applause.
Support for the show comes from Odoo. Running a business is hard enough, and you don't need to make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you find yourself drowning in software and processes instead of focusing on what matters, growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. It's the only business software you'll ever need. Odoo is an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything. That means CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload, no more juggling logins, just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part is that Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you're just starting out or you're already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process. It's time to put the clutter aside and focus on what really matters, running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.